Ultimately, awakening isn't an idea or an idea from your own mind or what you think it is. There's an emanation of light that others can feel. That's what enlightenment means. It's like there's a light coming from a being that quietens other people's minds. Yeah, I think the second one, right thought, is probably the most overlooked because we let our minds get away with horrendous things, and it's very subtle. Just even the constant noise of the mind is quite damaging to us and frames us and locks us into persona. And I think that's huge. And if people could just get their thoughts right, which ultimately ends in very little thought. So people don't understand right thought on that level either. Like right thought is minimal to zero. Like that's the really right thought, because you'll discover that just like the other kingdoms that are here on the planet, you can move silently. Like my dog's kind of dumb. She's lovely, but she's dumb. But she moves silently and manages to be a dog quite well. But she's a dog. She does a good job as a dog. So just on that level, we can actually be a human that way too. We can be a silent human, or a quiet human, and probably do a lot better. If she was trying to be something else, it'd be a bit awkward, wouldn't it? Like she's pretending she's a duck or something. Trying to pull it off and convince everybody she's a duck. Well, that's what we're all doing. That's what humans are doing. Oh, I'm so cool. Let me go home. I'm lovely. And get home like, oh, I hate that person. You know, it's so just coming back to that simple authenticity comes from right thought and right view and right speech, right? What is the right livelihood? Make sure you which make adjustments if your livelihood's not healthy, or you might be selling penny stocks to terrible companies, knowing the people are going to lose all their money, but you get profit from it, and etc. etc. There's no service in it. It's darkness. Yeah, but right thought is a big one, and I've seen somebody I know really just focused on that and nothing else, and he came from pretty rough Boganish background with a bad stepfather and a lot of problems. Or they're quite an intelligent guy, and he just focused on that and absolutely focused on that and made huge changes, unrecognizable, just by not letting that sneaky mind, whenever no one's looking, run its show. He just focused on it when no one was looking as well. Do you know what I mean? Didn't put on a satsang suit. And he'd joke about that, actually. It was quite a very funny guy, actually. He'd say, time to put the satsang suit on, and you know what I mean? Like, but he made huge strides, and just on that. He was very intelligent, actually, and he was actually a metal guitarist, and a lot of those guys are pretty smart. They work all the algorithms out, don't they? And well, they actually are, surprisingly, aren't they? Like, they're seeing under the skin of things a bit, and yeah, so that's a big one. But not many people realize, right thought means, silence ultimately. That's the rightest of all thoughts. And if you go and think, positively or helpfully, or how can I make this space better, instead of self-harming, or use the mind to unpick itself, like Ramana Maharishi says, use a small thorn to pick out the big thorn. The big thorn is your neuroticness and your madness and your identification. Use the mind, the small thorn, to pick out the big thorn of identity, and then drop the small thorn too. Right thought, drop that too. But use it wisely and then drop it when it can be dropped, and it'll drop itself, because this doesn't make sense anymore. So that's huge. Yeah, right. Livelihood, just, is it in service? Is it taking care, and, or, are you raising a family, or, it doesn't have to be livelihood, but you could say livelihood is raising a family too, isn't it? If it's the female raising the family, that's taking care of the next generation, isn't it? And making sure that they're functioning well and not becoming machines of the system. Mm. Letting them flourish, teaching them to flourish. And right thought, because, especially in our culture, and worldwide now, it's very, very noisy. The world's very noisy with the internet, isn't it? When you go onto X for 2 minutes, and 5 minutes later you're going, what the hell am I doing in here? This is insane. This is like a madhouse, and just everyone's got an opinion, and everyone now has a vehicle for their opinion. In the old days, a lot of people didn't get to get their opinions aired because no one was interested for good reason. But now they can just comment on anyone's work, from my work to someone that's an expert in a certain subject, and just come in there and just carry on like a lunatic, right? So it's much noisier than it used to be. And so we have to really focus on right thought, and minimizing those inputs is important, and recognizing it. Oh, this input is not suitable. I came here to get this, and now I'm over here. Okay. Right thought would be putting that down. Right action. It's going to be a challenge going forward to a little bit with the AI and everything, because now the young, smart kid is going to have knowledge, as far as worldly knowledge goes, far beyond anything their parents and grandparents have got. So the whole passing down and respect of the elders is going to diminish also, because they're dumb and slow and stupid, not getting things, and they're 6 years behind in the right, and that's already been happening. That's going to accelerate. So then the right thought for the young people would be, oh, I'm just lucky or unlucky, whichever way you want to look at it, to be in this level of information and understanding, and they're not, and having compassion and seeing it the right way and not condemning, etc., etc. Right? Mm-hmm. So yeah, even just focusing on right thought, you can get most of this work done, I think. And then using again your mind investigatively. Investigatively, yes, that's good. And just coming inwards, and yeah, staying on that track, and then with guidance, of course, because just like we've talked about, systems of filters for people to get to me in this work, to the inner work. Your mind's just got hundreds of layers of defenses for every maneuver you make. It'll jump on the back of it and say, "Oh yeah, you've got this, you rock star, you," or "You suck at this, give up." You know what I mean? And it's just got, it's like the maze, the maze runner. It'll just keep shifting the walls and shifting the walls, and then throwing out some warm fuzzy noises and situations for you to go, yeah, I'm on. know. And really, it's just defending itself by giving you what you think you need, and it's talking to itself. It's not talking to freedom; it's talking to itself. And instead of being the witness of the madness of that dialogue, you think you're the dialogue. Do you understand? So just in that investigation, we can get some distance. Mm. Yeah, but I think we've seen, anyone's been playing this game for a while, you see just how sneaky the mind is. with how important right thought is, right viewpoint. I mean, it's not just right thought, right viewpoint catches it as well, right? And, right intent. There's a few different ways talking about it. So you could just to simplify it, extend right thought out to cover 2 or 3 of those of the Eightfold Path. Although technically they are specific, just to simplify. And who can remember 8 things? I think humans, they've worked out are good for 3. So focus on 3. Start with one big one and have 2 little backups on the side. Well, the big problem is a lot of people can't drop thoughts. They just keep going, right? And so a meditation or a meditative outlook or practices of some sort, whether being physical or silence, will help the ability to drop thoughts. So if you can't drop thoughts, you need to examine thoughts. Or, if you can't completely let them go and get behind them, you can at least examine the structure of them. Are they poisonous? Are they life-affirming or life-destroying? Will the grass grow or is it brown in the grass? You know what I mean? And so just to become aware of the difference and really become aware of the difference, so you know it, so you can feel the difference, you can sense the difference, and then you have another mechanism that senses that shift and goes, oh, I'm in the wrong spot, I'm heading in the wrong direction, I'm now moving into a darker space. So these things take time. To have that level of awareness takes time. And even when you have decent levels of that, circumstances arises and things will sneak in. It'll happen again. So it takes a little bit. That's where satsang comes in really handy. Just the energy field dilutes a lot of that and softens it and weakens it. So you get a rest and your body gets used to a new, more restful way. So the old ways come down, and as in what used to be acceptable gets lowered into the softer space. Makes sense? So these things become more recognizable. And people don't notice that a lot of the time. Like what they used to do with themselves and their mind is softening and getting better, but you might not notice it. But it actually is usually happening. Because your system's getting used to a whole different way of being. And the body needs to get used to it. Your whole system's not used to it. It's a survival system, and this is a surrender system or a let go system, which is truth. There is no I. So what's there to grip onto? Right? I don't need to survive. You will, but you don't need to be worrying about it. And if you don't, you go to a point where, well, that's okay too. Occasionally I go, boy, I've got a lot of years left. If things go well, it's like, okay, well, I can it's all good now, like so cleaning the dishes and washing up and taking care of the body and the shelter and the bills. And it's just like, my goodness, just to keep this thing moving, just to keep this spacesuit active and in good shape. The what do you call it? The supplements. Sometimes it's like, what are we doing? What am I doing exactly? A lot of work, isn't it? If you really just go and write down everything you do just to keep this thing moving around, well, forgetting about all the pleasurable stuff, we're in good times. In old times, it was everything. I've been watching a bit of Malcolm Douglas old films lately up in the Northwest and the Kimberleys with the Aboriginals and that. They were working a lot just to eat. It was no joke to feed a tribe. Yeah, it was constant work and looking and hunting, and hopefully it's all there. Sometimes we're eating termites, Like, you know what I mean? They don't have time for this a lot of time. They were also free, they had a certain level of societal freedom where they're just in a tribe living, just no boss, no authority figures, no one you feel like is watching over you like the police and the government, and just living very clean. There's a beautiful side of that too. Very innocent. Say more? I don't know if I answered that 100% actually. So, it's case by case whether it's case by case whether it's investigating the mind or just being quiet. If you can drop the mind, drop the mind. But if you've got persistent, sticky thoughts, Velcro thoughts that just keep happening and happening and happening, you might want to go, so why is this? What is the root of this? Where are these emanating from? Is there something in my history or past? You can go examine. You might say to yourself, I'm an idiot 10 times a day or 100 times a day. Why am I saying that? I'm like, oh, my dad used to call me that when I was little, or whatever, you know what I mean? Or whatever it might be. Or, I'm so perfect. Well, your parents are telling you you're the perfect boy your whole life in your family, Not that people do that, but, It's like, go and find out why you think a certain way, why you suffer a certain way. Because it's very easy for us to pass down our suffering to our children, just embedded in them without even realizing it. And it's also over pampering them too is just as dangerous. Somewhere between kids that to be seen and not heard and don't interrupt us when we're speaking is good. We're communicating as adult training. So, satsang really, I know we talk a lot about the psyche and the thoughts and all the rest of it. Really, it's about resting. Ultimately, it's about being in that deepest energy field that we are, or that presence that we are, that we all actually are. And resting there. And then this other work we do is, swimming out to the rescue ship, so to speak, instead of waiting for it to find our little island accidentally. We need to get some water. Oh, there's people here. It's like, set a little fire up, just buy a ticket, let being know we're here and just start working towards freedom, the rescue from the eye. It also gives us something to do on the path, right? Otherwise, you're sitting around getting stoned. But it's just here now, always. It's very, very simple. And again, we're the complications, our thoughts and our belief systems and our frames of being are the complication, not this what I'm talking about. And even just for so many, just to be quiet and have quiet around them and just have silence around them, it's just so disturbing. And so I'm not saying I'm looking at you or that. I'm just saying, have you not noticed that with maybe your parents and different people, where if there's silence in the room, people start getting really agitated? Just consider that how far we've come, where you cannot be in a room with other people without people needing somebody to be speaking and making a noise, just to quantify things. Yeah. And so just getting used to part of what I was saying before, just getting used to silence and being okay with silence and learning to love it, learning to treasure it, because it's the primordial, it's the prior. It's like a spaciousness that is what you are, and it doesn't have all this density in it. And it's the truth. So if we need to fill a room full of noise all the time, we're not in alignment with truth. Pretty simple. That being said, there's also lots of opportunities to have fun together too, enjoy relationships, but don't have desperation in them. Let them come and go. Let them be free.